Swole and Sensibility presents Real Literate Himbos.
Real Literate Himbos.
Today we salute you, Mr. Vow of Chastity Bodyguard.
Mr. Vow of Chastity Bodyguard!
In a world where temptation literally signs your paycheck, you keep that chastity belt locked tighter than a nun on Sunday.
Caged like Martha Stewart!
You're the ultimate forbidden fruit. 6-figure income, 7% body fat, and 8 firm inches of eggplant.
Oh, that's a forbidden vegetable!
Angsty with purity, you stand dangerously close to a bratty vixen wishing, please dear God, someone start some shit.
They fucked around! Let them find out!
So crack open a spicy reed, oh titan of the tailored tux. Because no one needs a set of romance instructions like you.
Mr. Vow of Chastity Bodyguard!
Swole and Sensibility is a not safe for work podcast. Family members and bosses, please stop listening now.
And now for a warning from the creator. This is my first ever podcast, and you should all know beforehand that while I do have plenty of skills and consider myself a jack of all trades, proficiency in audio tech sure as hell ain't one of them. So yeah, my apologies for the absolutely terrible audio quality of what you're about to hear. I really had no idea what I was doing. It took 3 days in order to just edit this thing. I just had a passion for reading books one day, and I decided to do what all my friends have been saying and started a book review podcast. So yeah, I hope you like this first attempt. Rest in peace, headphone users. Rule of cool always beats rules as written, and always remember that a good, sexy read is like a good, sexy lover. Hard to find, worth the hunt, and the best thing to curl up with on a rainy day. That being said, there's going to be a song break in the middle of this thing, so I hope you like Disney parodies involving BDSM. Now, time to make cheeks blush, royalty laugh, and get people searching for this gem from 2001. Let's fucking go. Okay, so here we go. In the immortal words of NSYNC, here we go one more time, even though this is the very first episode. And I've got my drink, branched chain amino acids. I think your drink is ready. If you want, you can stir it up a little bit. And for those of you playing the home game right now, the drink of choice for this episode is it's branched chain amino acids. I'm not going to say the brand name. Blueberry lightning flavored. So cheers, salute.
Cheers. Love how it looks like Windex.
Tastes even better.
Smells like it. Yes. Okay, so today we are going over a very special book to me. And it is a book called KUSHIEL'S Dart by Jacqueline Carey. New York Times best-selling author Jacqueline Carey. I'm pretty sure this book is what shot her right up to the top. It is 912 pages of... Oh, it's good. It's kinky. It's actually believable. And it's one of the few times that I've read like mommy porn chick lit and was very impressed by it because goddamn, this book is smart. And like it's not throwing facts at you like a Da Vinci Code or anything like that. It's just like, oh, the author knows what the hell she's talking about, and I believe this character and everything that happens to her, with the exception of one thing, and I'll get to that, because thankfully it just happens at the climax, and I think our main character has, like, Wolverine healing super abilities at one point, but anyway, so, here's a consent question. Can I say your name on podcast, or do we give you a fake name? Because I'm all for fake names.
I love fake names just because they're more fun. I get to be me all day. Let's pick a dude. Let me be somebody else.
Okay.
Baroness von Lightning Trousers.
Okay, yeah, I'll take it. Baroness von Lightning.
It's a work in progress, folks.
And the best part is, fake names can change.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna be somebody different every week.
Awesome.
It's true. Get ready.
For those of you playing the home game, she's wearing a pair of pants that look like a combination between Shaolin Monk and Beetlejuice. And they look very comfy. So, anyways, Baroness, you have read this book a long-ass time ago.
When I was way too young to understand what the heck was going on.
Oh, that's the best time.
And I vaguely remember You know what? I don't remember much. Take it from the top.
Okay, cool.
Convince me, because I'll admit I don't read a lot of romance books. I read a lot of short erotic stories. I read a lot of stories where it's like, okay, there's some build up. Boom, we're fucking.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I like it when there's fantasy that's also sexy. But like I'm pretty picky. So
well, this is definitely like if there was anything that what you just said, if it falls into a category, it's fantasy that's also really sexy. Because like there's love and there's romance and there's a very specific kind of romance, but it's romance nonetheless. Like all the flavors that go into a romance novel go into this. But Phaedra gets around, and she gets a whole bunch of everything that's in a romance novel from a bunch of different people. And the best part is it's all done mostly ethically.
That's important.
Yeah, it's like, it's not, I mean, there's at some points, like, she straight up gets, she gets basically non-consent everything. Like, she gets thrown into slavery, she gets tortured sexually, like, it's SA all the way at certain chapters, and she goes through it, man, and she's like...
Does she like it?
Oh, here's the thing. Just because you enjoy heroin, it doesn't mean that you like it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's where we're gonna get into like a main source of the that's an interesting emotion that I'm feeling, because this Jim Bro is not a masochist, and I got a lot of understanding about masochism from this book, and from what I've seen in a bunch of other masochists. Yeah, it's pretty much accurate. So here we go. So, reading a little bit from the back. In the land of Terre d'Ange, which is basically magic Renaissance France. The land of Terre d'Ange is a place of unsurpassing beauty and grace. It is said that angels found the land and saw it was good, and the ensuing race that rose from the seed of angels and men lived by one simple rule: love as thou wilt. Which, if we were to translate it into modern-day Jim Bro terms, it is boink and let boink.
I like it.
I want to get that tattoo, or at least that bumper sticker. So Phaedra, she is a young woman. In this book, I believe she is of the age of 21 to 23. And she was born with this little tiny scarlet mote in her left eye. This is actually something that happens in real life for some people, and it's when you notice it, you try hard not to stare. But yeah, it's actually a thing that happens only in Terre d'Ange. This means that you have been blessed or cursed by the gods. And if only it was that easy to prove a deity in this world. But yeah, basically, she, like, that little mote in her eyeball is called KUSHIEL'S dart. As if a dart had just plunged right into her eye socket and felt good, bro.
Question, who's KUSHIEL?
KUSHIEL is a... Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna do something that is probably a bad idea. Because KUSHIEL is something that... Okay, KUSHIEL is a deity. Alright, number one. But I'm not sure if it's one of Jesus' disciples or Lucifer himself who became a disciple. So, hang on.
Wow, that seems like an important distinction.
Yeah, like, okay, here. The first 3 chapters of this book are a lot of world building. And I gotta admit, the first 3 chapters are the hardest to get through.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because it's a lot of world building. It's a lot of... You're learning the history of both the world itself. You're learning the history of the government itself. And this is a political fantasy thriller.
Okay, is she kind of a spy? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
I think that was probably what made me want to read it, because I was real into Spy Kids, and I was like, I bet I'm going to love this.
Did you read this book right after watching Spy Kids?
Yes, this is how too young I was.
Oh,
Again, like, explain it to me like I'm a grown woman who needs to give another chance.
Okay, cool. I'm glad, thank you for throwing out the interruption with the question. Please keep doing that the moment that questions come up, man. Alright, KUSHIEL, Wikipedia. Alright, Is Kushiel in the Bible? Thank you, Google. Oh my god, I think he is. As a presiding angel of hell, he is said to punish nations with a whip made of fire.
The Bible just got so much cooler.
I think we're going to have to review it.
Yeah.
Although, along with the other angels of punishment, it is reported in the second book of Enoch, 10:3, to dwell in the third heaven. Not really sure what any of that actually means, except for that whip made of fire.
If the third heaven has a whip made of fire, I aspire to go there.
It might be. I mean, oh my god, that might be the Balrog from the Bridge of Casa Doom. Kushiel was the punishing angel of the Yeshua's one god. So basically, like in this world, Jesus after the crucifixion, like basically wept tears of blood that got mixed in with Mary Magdalene's tears. And somehow that opened up a portal into the land of terror. It's very fucking weird. Honestly, that's not why I picked the book up. I picked the book up because it sounds like a memoir from a Black Widow-style character who actually got fucked and, like, enjoyed her job, but really was devoted to more than just her job. And, like, okay, so Phaedra was a girl who was sold into indentured servitude by her parents. So, like, first of all, her parents gave her a bad luck name. Phaedra is actually a bad luck name. I don't know what the etymology of Phaedra. I kind of want to keep that mystery there because, like, I've met girls named Phaedra, and Phaedra is coming back as a name in a lot of books. And I'm kind of thinking it has to do with this book. But anyways, so she was sold into indentured servitude. So until she was like 10 to 11 years old, she was a servant girl. She was basically a cupbearer in this rich lady's court. She learned a little bit about the ins and outs of stuff, and she never really did anything. Thankfully, it never got gross, because I was kind of worried. I was really worried that she was going to be like a slave girl getting thrown into prostitution at age like 12 or something. And thankfully, never came up. Thankfully, like, the land of Terre d'Ange, like, they call themselves Dangelines. Yeah, right? I know, right? Like, that's actually kind of cool.
Dangelina Jolie. Can that be my new...
Oh my god, Dangelina.
Can that be my new
Jolie.
name? Scratch whatever we said before.
It's Baroness von Dangelina Jolie. Okay, but like in this land, like everybody has this whole thing about like, yeah, we fuck and we boink and let it boink, but we're not fucking monsters about it. We're actually turning it into art. Our prostitutes are actually clerics. Like, there's, like, the sacrificing of white doves. And by sacrificing it, hey, I'll buy a white dove and, like, release it during orgasm or something. Like, it's really cool because Phaedra grows up in that environment. And everyone looks at her and they see the dart in her eye, and they don't really tell her what it means. But basically, like, according to their clerics, it means, like, oh, you've been pricked by KUSHIEL'S dart. You are chosen to forever experience pain and pleasure as one.
Whoa, that's cool.
So,
that's real
yeah. Cool. So, like, if ever there was anything that said masochist, there you go, boys. So, yeah, like, part of me is just like, I'm fucking jealous about that, man, because, like, I puss out when it comes to pain. I puss out when it comes to, like, if I'm lifting too heavy, I'll puss out because I'm just like, nope, my body can't take it. And I just wish I had a little bit extra of, no, man, fucking earn it!
Yeah, I wonder, like, are you just like that or you're not? Like, are you born like that? Like,
apparently, yeah. Like, I hear a lot of masochists that I know say, like, yeah, it's been this way ever since I was a kid, but, like, it was never, like, sometimes you can actually learn masochism, but that's, like, if you shatter all the bones in your leg, and, like, you have to be on so much pain meds for so long, and your body's reknitting itself, and you're in pain for so fucking long that when you're finally healed, your brain kind of needs the extra stimulation to stay...
Because you're used to the pain.
Yeah, so, like, you can learn masochism. It's not a good idea. So Phaedra...
Okay, so this is a question. So, like, how did she find out, like, when is her awakening? When is she like, oh, hey, I'm into pain.
Ooh, okay. Well, she has this. I believe she's about 10 or 11 years old. So she's listening to servants gossip about her. Like every servant knows how to listen to gossip, and she hears gossip about herself. And one day she's just like, "I'm gonna try something," and she takes a pin from her hair, and she just jams it into her palm, and it's written so fucking beautifully. It's just like, oh my god. This is all metaphor for her losing her virginity. But it's masochism virginity. It's a phallic steel spear plunging through a thin barrier of flesh, which, yes, I know the hymens are not actually a barrier of flesh, but just go with the fucking metaphor.
Well done. Good on you for knowing that.
Oh my god, I'm so sick and tired of... I am so sick and tired of people, like, writing the fucking... Oh, the breaking of the hymen. He thrust through her fleshy shield.
Ugh. We don't have a fleshy shield.
You have like a mini rubber band.
That can break by riding a horse or so many other things.
Oh my god. I'm actually trying to find... where is it? Hang on. So, like, when she's still a girl, so what do little kids have to do on Sundays? They gotta go to Sunday school. So she was, like, brought up in, like, not learning our version of Christianity. She's just listening to, like, Brother Joshua come in, and she's just like, oh, this is fucking... Oh, okay, this is fascinating. This is, like, where we come from, what we are... The sacrifice of Jesus. Oh man, that sucks. The 12 disciples become 12 angels. And from this union, the grieving earth engendered her most precious son, blessed Elua, most cherished of angels. And yeah, I stole that for a D&D campaign one time, and nobody fucking did.
Nice. Good artist borrow, great artist steal.
Oh, right? Stole outright, man. Let me see. So she knows that she's been, like, pricked by KUSHIEL'S. She's a little girl still. She knows that she's been, like, pricked by KUSHIEL. That explains the dart in her eye. So, like, all little kids, she's like, maybe I'm the chosen one. Maybe there's something really, really special about me. Maybe that's why my parents gave me up.
She's an orphan.
No, she's not an orphan. Her parents are still alive. They sold her.
Oh, right.
They straight up sold her into... Like, she's less a orphan, more of a bought and foundling.
Gotcha.
Let's see. The blood that the one god might, who knows, run in my very own veins, I thought, and I resolved to see. I turned my left-hand palm upward and took the pin in a firm grip in my right, pushing it into my flesh. The point sank in with surprising ease. For a second, it seemed almost of no note, and then the pain blossomed like an anemone from the point I had driven into my palm. My hand sang in agony, and my nerves thrilled with it. It was an unfamiliar feeling, at once bad and good, terribly good. Like when I thought of Nama lying with strangers, only better, more. I withdrew the pin and watched with fascination as my own red blood filled the tiny indention, a scarlet pearl in my palm to match the mote in my eye. I did not know then that one of the adepts had seen me and gasped, sending a servant straightaways for the Doane, which, it's the house ma. Send for Anaphiel Delani. Tell him we have something to see. Anaphiel Delani is probably my favorite character in this whole fucking book.
Okay, what's his deal?
Okay, he, at first glance, is, you are a Renaissance man courtier. He is the 20-something, maybe 27, maybe early 30s, most interesting man in the world. Alright? But, like, he's not, well, I mean, he is a world traveler, but, like, that was years ago. This is a guy who is well-cultured, the Casanova who doesn't fuck everything. Everybody wants to fuck him. And he's not gross about it at all. He's more than anything, he's observant. He's actually a spy master. And he is good at this game. He doesn't do spying himself, because everybody knows, oh, this guy's fucking smart, and he knows all the right kind of questions. Super charming, super, just the epitome of the Renaissance man is this guy. Just effortless with his debonair, his joie de vivre, if you will. I don't speak French.
Yeah.
So he's like, he shows up, and Raphael Delany looks her over, and he looks at her the way Michelangelo looks at a block of marble.
Ah.
And he's like, do you want to come live with me? And she's still a little kid. She's like 11, 12 years old. She's just like, okay, if I must. I mean, she knows that she is eventually to be sold to another house if someone will pay for her. I mean, the best that she was hoping for was, maybe I'll be sold to a good house or something, but, if I don't, then that means I'll just become a priestess. And
not a bad future.
Not a bad future, especially in this world, because, their religion is actually sane. even though there's like 12 different religions, and there's like 12 different religions that form 12 different houses.
Holy cannoli, this is a lot of world building.
This is a huge amount of world building, and I am very impressed. I don't get it all, but you don't really have to, because that's not what this isn't Game of Thrones chess match. This is more like Chinese checkers, or this is more like Go.
Like the world is a playground for the characters to play in.
Yes, and even like some of these houses and some of these religions are very much at odds with each other, but they know that we're a Democrat and a Republican, but we're both on the same baseball team.
All right. I like that analogy.
I don't fucking believe you. I don't like what you're doing, but I'm not saying that your God is wrong or anything, because we all worship the same 12 disciples. So Raphael Delany just one day gets her and pays for her and takes her home over to his estate. And you're just like, oh, Raphael's got some big bucks. And Phaedra's thinking, maybe he just likes little girls. And if that's to be it, I just hope he'll be gentle. And he's like, as soon as he gets home, he pulls the carriage into the drive, a boy jumps out of the house and runs up to her. And this is to be her kind of like adopted brother. His name is Alcuin. He's, at first glance, you're like, oh, fuck, that's a hot albino boy. But he doesn't have the red eyes of an albino, and his hair is long and white gold, and you're just like, oh no, you're just an exquisite physical specimen, but you're also like, 10, 11, 12 years old. You're prepubescent. Why are you here? And then that's when Delany says, yeah, I'm training you both to essentially be my spies. But you're going to be so much more than that. It's one thing to learn how to write in code, or it's one thing to be able to seduce somebody and get secrets out of them. I'm going to turn you into someone who can actually think. And when I read that, I'm just like, oh,
I've got a crush on this guy already.
I got a band crush on this guy. I'm hoping that there's an instruction list in this book, because I am
how to teach people to think.
Yeah, how to teach people, think, observe, figure out, oh, this means this means this means this. And let's see, we're going to find something on the book. Going back to the book for a second. Oh, okay, here we go. All right. I chose my words carefully. Is it not your will that I shall be apprenticed unto the service of Nama? Oh, that. With a wave of his hand, he discarded the tenets of the night court. You can sing, I'm told, and you play a passable harp. The Duane says you've got an ear for poetry. I'll hire a tutor to continue your teaching in such arts until you come of age, and may decide for yourself if you wish to serve Nama. But there are other matters of more importance. I sat up straight on the couch. The art of the salon are of the utmost importance, my lord. No. His grey eyes glinted. They have value, Phaedra, and that is all. But what I will teach you, you will like, I think. You will learn to look, to see, and to think, and there is merit in such lessons as will last a lifetime. You will teach me what I already know, I said. Will I indeed? Delaunay leaned back on the couch and popped a grape into his mouth. Tell me then about the coach in which we rode here, Phaedra. Describe it to me. It was a black coach, I glared at him. A coach and four with matched bays, with red velvet on the seats, gold braid on the curtains, and sateen stripes on the walls. Well done! He glanced over at Alcuin. And you? The boy sat up, cross-legged, on the couch. It was a coach for hire, he said promptly, because there was no insignia on the door, and the driver wore plain clothes and not livery. A wealthy hostelry, most like, because the horses were well-bred and matched, nor were they lathered, so most likely you leased them here in the city. The driver was between 18 and 22, and country-bred, to judge from his hat, but he has been in the city long enough to need no direction, nor bite good coin when paid him by a gentleman. He carried no other passengers and left straight away, so I would gauge you were his only fare today, my lord. If I were to seek your identity and your business, my lord, I think it would not be so hard to find the driver of this coach and four and make inquiries. His dark eyes danced with the pleasure of having answered well. There was no malice in it. Delaunay smiled at him. And better done. But, yeah.
But I love this. I love, this is what school should be like.
Oh, yeah. Teaching people how to actually think.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And if somebody was like, hey, I'll hire tutors for you to play all your instruments and sing your songs and do your poetry, and I'm also going to teach you to, pay attention to what the fuck's going on around you, I'd be like, okay, take me now.
How to understand.
Yeah.
2 plus 2 plus this plus
this.
plus
That's a
this.
recipe for a pretty successful life, you know?
And not a pretty unfearful life.
Yeah.
Because nothing is quite as frightening as the unknown.
Right.
I mean, we are dangerously close to going into modern day politics. And that's not what this shit
happening.
Never. Okay. So yeah, she spends the next couple years doing 3 things. 1, getting very well educated. She learns languages, she learns history, geopolitics, city politics, royal politics. So she learns that. 2, she learns that, I've got to be good at fucking, but she's never allowed to engage in it. She learns how to do caresses, and there are some good little paragraphs.
Oh, I love a good caress. I mean, I feel like it's easier to write a sex scene than a...
She's learning. There's literally the Kama Sutra in this book, but it's called the 3 Million Joys. So I'm like, let's go. I like that. That book actually comes up later, but so that's the second thing that she learns. And the third, she's a little mischief maker, and she's very much got... Okay, here's a problem that I have with a lot of these kind of stories. If you've got a plucky female protagonist, she's going to be a Disney princess. She's going to be a Disney princess who's trying to escape the walls of confinement. And Phaedra is like that, unfortunately. But thankfully, she's not Princess Jasmine. Right? She's not I wish I was like the poor people. She's not like that at all.
She's just kind of a brat, maybe?
She's she gets antsy, man.
Yeah.
And she's very headstrong, but she's not a brat. She's she knows what a brat is.
Okay.
Brats are disrespectful. Brats are they are testing to see what they can get away with. And Phaedra's not really that. I mean, she has that in her. Don't get me wrong. She's trained to be a spy. You're definitely trying to see what you can get away with. But a spy is never spies don't get caught.
Right.
That's rule number 1, basically. What she's she does a Tom Sawyer every so often, and she escapes the walls and mostly leads the Delaunay's gate guards on a merry chase. It's very Princess Jasmine running through the marketplace of Agrabah.
Yeah, I respect that, because what little girl wouldn't want to do that, you know?
Yeah, and she makes friends with this little gypsy boy, and in this one they're not called gypsies, they're called tsinganos, which, okay, cool. I mean, it is very much, she makes friends with little boy Esmeralda, who instead of a musician, he is a fortune teller.
Oh, cool.
But turns out he actually has the gift but we're not going to talk about him. His name is actually Hyacinth, and Hyacinth is her first, naturally made friend. And he's Aladdin. He's not a thief, but, gypsies have a reputation.
He's roguelike.
Yeah, he's very roguelike. He's not, he'll pick your pocket if you're an asshole. He'll definitely pick your pocket if you refuse to pay for, a fortune teller reading or anything like that. But he's also just, he's an interesting character. He's a disgraced prince, but he's not Prince Zuko, thankfully. He's not angsty at all. He's just, life is life, and he's pretty chill about it. His mom is a disgraced gypsy princess who washes clothes and reads fortunes.
Cool.
And he's just like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, I've got my family, I've got my brothers, I got my gypsy guys, and we're all good, and that's it. And Phaedra loves this level of independence in one so young, so that, that's how Hyacinth earns, a really special place in her heart. It's almost I wasn't well acquainted with the who are you gonna choose type situation in Twilight, and which one is Phaedra going to give her heart to? If I was reading this book now, I would be like, oh god, here it comes. Who is she gonna be with? Is it PETA or
Oh,
the
do they
other
actually
dude?
do that in this book, though?
Fuck no.
Thank God. I feel like love triangles can just die.
Oh, God,
they're
yeah.
ready to die.
Dude, love triangles are my number one.
They're so unnecessary.
Yeah, they're always done the exact same way, and it just pisses me the fuck off every time.
As a proud polyamorist, I'm just like, you can have both. Moving on.
Yes, you can just communicate effectively.
You've got to have a more interesting conflict in your life than this.
No, don't worry. This is Phaedra we're talking about. There's no such thing as a love triangle. There is a love dodecahedron going here.
Lucky girl. All right, so speaking of that, when does the book get kinky?
Oh.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, God. Truly kinky. Besides the whole masochism of, I pricked my hand with that. That was kind of kinky.
Beautiful,
but
yeah.
It was more poetically kinky.
Yes.
In fact, one time she gets... This could be arguably kinky. For me, it was emotionally disturbing for me, but it was the emotional disturbance of, am I watching, this is bad, but at the same time,
I can't look away.
One time, she goes a little bit too far with being mischievous, and Anafiel Delany gets worried, but she's also been disrespectful. And this is how you know Anafiel Delany is not a fucking pushover. Because she gets brought back by the guards, and is a stern talking to is not going to do this. Alright, whipping post. And she's still a little girl. And, the guy that the guard that has to actually whip her it's a flogger. It's nowhere near Passion of the Christ flogging. It's very much just flog to the back, flog to the back, flog to the back. And but he makes sure that it hurts because this is a lesson that needs to be learned. She has to learn respect. And she fucking learns it, but she also has probably, and I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure it's her first orgasm. Only from pain.
Now, is this from her point of view?
Yes. This
First
entire
person?
book is her
Okay.
first person point of view. And but it's it's her first person point of view, but it reads like a memoir. We don't really know how old she is as she writes this. So it's you're just are you an old woman right now? Are you 24?
It kind of doesn't matter almost.
Yeah, the adventure is very clearly done. And this reads like a book that you would find on Delany's library. It's just,
okay,
yes.
Interesting. It was her journal.
Yeah, well, kind of. It's not quite journal, but it's there's a difference between journal and memoir.
Memoir. Good point.
It's like an autobiography.
Yes.
So, now, the really when you're just oh god, yeah, you aren't just a masochist, you're a sub, you are submissive, is when she meets my second favorite character, Melisandre.
Mm.
And Delaney's house Delaney's house motto is all knowledge is worth having.
Oh my god, I love that.
I fucking want to steal that.
I want a tattoo of that. That's
I
great.
do. I really thought about getting a tattoo of
And
that.
I kind of think it's true. I feel like that's the more erudite way of saying like fuck around and find out, but in a good way.
Okay.
Like all knowledge is worth having. Most experiences teach you something, and
yeah, I mean,
some knowledge is like hard to acquire, but it's usually worth it.
Imagine the price that she pays to learn shit.
Oh.
So one day, she and Alcuin, who they do not fuck, I will emphasize again and again, they do not fuck each other.
I'm relieved to hear that. I'm good with that.
Here we go. He believed, Delaney did, in a balanced approach to shaping one's nature, and thus were Alcuin and I subjected to an endless series of physical training to ensure that our well-honed minds were ensconced in vigorous bodies.
I love this place. I want to go there.
Everybody's like, oh my god, you're mentally healthy? You're physically healthy?
You have a gymnastics room?
I had just finished my day's lesson in which I had learned to throw a standing somersault, extremely difficult for those in the know, and was toweling off the sweat when Delaney entered the gymnasium with her. The tumbling master was packing his things and, seeing her, bid to make a hasty retreat, which Delaney ignored. To describe Melisande Scheherazade, I think it's supposed to be a play on the word Scheherazade, I'm not sure. To describe Melisande is, as the poets say, to paint a nightingale's song. It is a thing which cannot be done. She was 23 of age at that time, though time never seemed to touch her, either way that it flowed. If I say her skin was like alabaster, her hair a black so true it gleamed blue where light touched it, and her eyes a sapphire that gemstones might envy, I speak only the truth. But she was a Angeline, and this only hints at the beginning of beauty. Melisande, Delaney said, pride and amusement in his voice, this is Phaedra.
Well, I liked the description. I liked the describing her as like painting a nightingale song. That was cool. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay, here we go. When I glanced up politely to meet the blue eyes of Melisande, her look went through me like a spear. My knees turned to water, and I knew that she was a scion of KUSHIEL. Remember, Mr. Flamin' Whip. How charming. She crossed the gymnasium floor with careless grace, sweeping the train of her gown over one arm. Cool fingers stroked my cheek, lacquered nails trailing lightly over my skin. I shuddered. With a faint smile, she held my chin up, forcing me to look her in the face. Anaphia, she said lightly, amused, turning to him. You found a genuine angoissette.
Oh, that's hot.
He laughed, coming to join us. I thought you would approve. She loosed me, and I nearly fell to the floor. I've wondered what you were hiding, you magician, you. I know people who have wagered a considerable amount of money in speculation. Delaney wagged one finger back and forth at her. We had an agreement, Melisande. Do you want Cousin Ogier to know why his son cancelled the wedding at the last moment? I'm just thinking aloud, sweet man. She gave him the same treatment, a trailing caress down the side of his face. Delaney merely smiled. You must think of me when you decide it's time for her to serve. She turned back to me, smiling sweetly. You do wish to serve Nama, don't you, chap? Her smile made me tremble, and at last I understood what Delaney had meant. The memory of the Dwayne's chastiser and the adepts of Mandrake House paled beside the exquisite cruelty etched in that smile. I would like to say that I sensed then the long corridor of history stretching before us, the role I was to play, and the terrible lengths to which it would drive me. But it would be a lie. I thought nothing of the kind. I thought nothing at all. Instead, I forgot my manners, my long training in the night court, and wallowed in her blue gaze. Yes, I whispered in answer. My lady. Good. She turned away again, dismissing me, taking Delaney's hand and steering him towards the door. There's a small matter I wish to discuss with you. Thus, my introduction to Melisande Scheherazade, who had a mind as subtle as Delaunay's and a far colder heart.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Character, introductory, action. All she does is trail a couple fingers down Phaedra's face, and you know, oh my fucking god.
And she forces her to look her in the eye.
Yep.
I am a sucker for the
tilting of the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This woman, you realize, oh, she's not normal. She's not at all. Like, if there was a word that I would use to describe her, it would be prime. And she's only 23, by the way. But, like, you read all that and you're just like, Helen Mirren, is that you? Oh my god, the fucking regalness in this.
Oh, hello. No, it's not a commercial break or anything. In fact, it's just time for a song. 1, 2, 3!
Ma chère mademoiselle, it is with cheapest price we've come together for a book review tonight. And so prepare a bubble bath, pour a glass of Zinfandel, as the Jimbro podcast proudly presents your reviewer. Oui. Set, you can bet this slave girl is hashtag blessed with a red dot in her eye that says labor pains get me wet. Leather cuffs, whips and chains, if you're good you get the cane. Though the setting is fictitious, the book covers bootylicious. At first glance this is France, Game of Thrones and a lap dance. They've got BDSM churches you can bet. Get turned on by Jocelyn, Melisandre, and Alcuin. Don't forget the flechettes, Anguissette. Back tattoo on display, it goes well with lingerie. More court gossip on your outfit than your yearbook picture day. Phaedra will service you till her ass is black and blue. Tickle, torture, feather teases, and there's no fear of diseases. She can dance, turn some tricks, and she'll find all your secrets with some pillow talk and a shed cigarette. Go from postcoital dozing straight to marriage proposing. She's a belle in the streets, but a Mulan in the sheets. That knife threat gets her wet, Anguissette. Romance can be annoying when the plot lines are so boring. You can predict every surprise twist to the end. Dear God, not another love triangle. And please no more friend-zone brown best friends. Too long we have been questing for a girl boss who's interesting, someone strategic and crafty, clever, skilled. Someone who does more than hunt for husbands. Phaedra's fangirls, wow, they're generous. She's not gay, but she's adventurous, charming, poor and rich. Even rabbis love this bitch. Charming poet and a laureate, and she moans in perfect pitch. Her own kink is CNC, and my dear, that's fine with me. She can charm a traitor's pants off with a kinky ballroom dance-off for the chase to third base, fall so fast into subspace. But don't ask her, does the carpet match the drapes? Forget the flowers and wine. Is it your dungeon or mine? The safe word is Hyacinth. Anguissette, hotter than Carol Burnett. She's got more potential suitors than the star of Bachelorette. Not a spy, a courtesan. Got a secret, dude, it's on. While her spank bottom is glowing, chug some OJ and keep going. Flog by flog, lash by lash. Just make sure you pay in cash, even though you might be going into debt. KUSHIEL'S welcomes you where kinky dreams come true. Just don't forget your bayonet. She'll be impressed.
So now we're about to get into spoiler-ish territory for actual plot, but just, like, I think, I'm not going to get into too much of the sex, because that's one of the delights of reading it. The sex is mostly kink, not so much boink boink. Literally, her virginity does get sold, and
Is there an auction scene?
there's not an auction.
Okay, I feel like that's in like every story ever, but I figured they'd be more clever in this.
Dangelines are better than that. Like they are not haughty about knowing that they're better than that, but it's more like, it's kind of like a silent auction where like everyone they'll bid through the mail. So they'll just be like, oh, or they'll have conversations with Delaney. Like, Delaney is the one who decides who she goes to, but Delaney is still such a good enough man to know that, Phaedra, this guy wants this much for you. Like, the highest bidder doesn't actually win. It's who she decides to choose.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love, it seems like this book does a really good balance of like kinkiness, but also like she's got a lot of personal autonomy too.
Yes, yeah, she does. Like, she's very much like, I was going to say the low girl on the totem pole, but that's like saying, okay, if she was a mouse, she's Mighty Mouse.
I like that.
She's
yeah.
100% a servant. She serves. But she's like Alfred in Batman. You do not fuck with this servant, alright? Like, oh, I pity anybody who tries to kidnap this girl. And eventually someone tries. And I'm not going to get into the reason why she gets a bodyguard, but eventually she does get a bodyguard.
Does she sleep with him too?
We'll get there. Remember what I said about some houses are on opposite sides?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, that's Mr. Jocelyn.
Okay.
I believe if his house was one of the angels or one of the servants, or like if his house was an angel, it would be the Archangel Michael. These are the guys who, this house, we deal with war. We breed warriors. We are the bodyguards. We are the badasses you don't fuck with physically. God help you if you get us into a bar fight, but we're not going to be in a bar fight because we don't drink, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We don't drink, we don't fuck. They are warrior monks with armor, 2 knives, they've got, I believe they're wrist vambrace knives, and a long sword on the back. Their 2 knives, they can use them for defense only. Like, oh, okay, yeah, you're a bodyguard. Sometimes you don't want to just kill everything that's a threat. Sometimes you just gotta block something and punch with your other fist. If you make him draw his sword, that means it's go time. And yeah, so Phaedra looks this guy up and down, and she's just like, oh, I hope he does his job. It keeps me safe. This guy, his name is Jocelyn. I gotta admit, Jocelyn has a lot of fans. I'm not one of them in this book.
No?
Yeah, well, I will say, he goes through the most character development. And he is a full-fledged character. Do not get me wrong. He is not the friend-zoned brown best friend trope.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one that can go.
Yeah, that goes right the fuck. Like, the closest version of that this book gets is Hyacinth, just because he's the brown best friend.
Right,
But
right.
you get the fact, like, oh, fuck, no, she loves this guy, and, like, if... I can't go too far into spoilers because, like, shit happens to Hyacinth. That makes it so that, you guys can't fuck. Sorry! And
Sucks to be Hyacinth.
sucks to be Hyacinth. Yeah, I gotta admit, it sucks to be everyone at some point in this book. It sucks to be Hyacinth.
Well, and it seems like every character they kind of make you care about, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she gets a bodyguard named Jocelyn, and he does not get it. Does not understand. Like, he understands that she is, like, a cleric prostitute. He also understands that she gathers information, and she's a bit of a spy, and she's a courtier, and he's just like, I don't even need to know. I don't need to know. That is you. I am just doing I'm doing my duty to my brotherhood. He's basically an intern. just doing his bodyguard time so that he can move on with being part of the Casseline Brotherhood. He serves Cassia, who might as well just be Michael, the avenging angel.
So he's not even curious about any of these hijinks that Phaedra's getting up to.
If he is, he's not talking about it. If he is, he's not asking about it. But he is, like, grossly fascinated and kind of turned off, like very actually turned off and disturbed that she gets off on pain. Like that she allows physical harm to be done to her. Like she doesn't just, when Phaedra goes on assignment, she doesn't just get like a few smacks on the bottom or, oh, now here's my silken flogger. No, you are getting a fucking bullwhip to the back, and thankfully there's something in her that has a minor healing ability or something. Because
is this where the Wolverine powers come in?
Yeah, like there's shit that gets done to this girl that makes you go,
is she gonna be okay?
She's going to be marred because of, like, at one point a guy takes a hot poker from the iron and like brands the inside of her thigh.
Oh! I mean, I'm kind of a masochist. That's even a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's the reason why she gets. That's the reason why she gets a bodyguard. and Phaedra doesn't have any say in the matter. And Nafiel Delani is just like, no, you're getting a fucking bodyguard, all right?
Yeah.
Like that asshole lost control. Like, but did you get the information? Fuck yeah, I got the information. Because like she's excellent at pillow talk. Like, yeah, and like when he, like she will make sure that the powerful men that she sleeps with, she'll make them lose control. And a good, a definite man stereotype is when we lose control, we fucking talk about shit that we shouldn't talk about. We say shit that we shouldn't say. And if you're a courtier in politics, you say shit that is supposed to be secret.
Yeah.
And you'll let slip something that, I just said a guy's name. Well, Phaedra knows how to think. And she knows how to see, and she knows,
she knows how to take advantage of post-orgasm male brain.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Like, she'll post-orgasm, pre-orgasm, edging. Like, she knows all of this shit. And, like, she'll combine that with anything that he says or does with an envelope placed carelessly on the desktop. A crumpled up paper in a waste paper basket. Like, there's a cigar holder with enough ash for 3 cigars. Like
she's legitimately a good spot.
Yeah, man, she's there, and those ashes are. 2 of them are cold. 1 of them is warm. It's just stuff like that. Like she's really good at observation. And Jocelyn doesn't know, doesn't care. That's not his job. He's blinders on. Just want to get through this and just. Oh gosh, and Phaedra loves being a brat to this guy because he's got such a stick up his ass. He's just, like, everything he does is, like, you get the idea this guy does not relax to take a leak. He probably sleeps in his armor. And I'm just like, yeah, man, like, I'm with Phaedra on this one. Be a brat girl. And she doesn't make life too hard on him because, like, she's not that. But she will definitely, like...
She'll test him a little bit.
In order to teach him something. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, stop being a boss. Stop trying to boss me around. You're my bodyguard. You're not my keeper. That is a Nafiel Delane. And he's better at it than you are, dude. And Jocelyn's a young man. He's like 21, 22. So his ego needs a couple pegs taken down. Then, I'll just say, plot point, shit happens. People die. People that you're just like, wait, them? How? No, she's supposed to fall in love with this guy. Like, if this is like reading Hunger Games and PETA dies.
Oh, God, I would throw the book across the room.
Yeah, I was just like, what the... Like, I was almost there like, wait, it's this kind of story? What the fuck is this? Phaedra gets captured, she gets captured, sold into slavery, and, like, the backstabber of this nefarious plot makes it so that, I'm not going to kill you. I don't want that to happen to you. I'm going to make your life complete pain because for someone like you, it's a little bit of a reward, isn't it? And Phaedra's like, no, it's not.
Nope,
no, it's not.
You don't get it.
You just like you kill people that I fucking love.
Yeah. You're not gonna make it all better with a nice spanking. Sorry.
Yeah, and so she gets sold into slavery to basically Vikings,
to
Norse barbarians. So she goes from, picture this.
The opposite of...
She goes straight into the complete opposite of, it's magic kinky France in the Renaissance. And she gets shipped off to fucking Iceland, Norway,
bumfuck.
Just glaciers.
Barbarian land.
Yeah. Odin is there.
Ah.
But thankfully, oh my god, this is how I know Jacqueline Carey did her fucking research. She actually spelled Odin with the proper spelling. It begins with a W, alright?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh fuck, she
Well
knows.
done.
I mean, maybe she just read American Gods, but whatever. She fucking gave Odin the fucking respect he deserves. So she gets sold to this barbarian king named okay. I'm not really sure how to pronounce this guy's name. I believe it's pronounced Vladimir Selig. I'm just gonna call him Selig. And he is kind of like, even I'm just like, this is a barbarian fuck interest that I can get behind. Because he's a badass. Yeah, he's a fucking badass. He's also like the only member of his barbarian horde that united all of the other barbarian hordes the same way Kamehameha did that in Hawaii with all the other islanders. Like, oh, this guy's got, like, he's a politician who goes boxing. Like, this is a politician who, like, taught himself how to read and then started collecting books.
Ah.
Like, yeah, and he makes sure that, Phaedra gets sold to him, and he's just like, yeah, you're mine. Don't fuck around and fuck, because you will find out.
How does Phaedra feel about this? Is she into this guy? I'd be into this guy.
Not really, because, like, Phaedra, thankfully, does not get over the deaths of her loved ones and the potential
this is
threat.
that guy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This guy is the enemy of Teardown.
Yeah.
This guy wants to go in and take it over. And, like, he is, like, when I say barbarian, I'm talking Genghis Khan college days. Like, this guy wants to go in, kill the enemies, take the women, take the lands, everything. Like, he is a fucking conqueror, and he's smart enough to actually get it done. And he's got enough people at his back to actually get it done. And he looks at Phaedra, and he's just like, yeah, you're mine. And doesn't say anything, doesn't elaborate beyond that. And Phaedra is so much of us, like, she knows exactly what this means. She pours his drinks, she'll warm his bed, she won't say anything, she won't engage in conversation until they're alone. And he has to talk first. And so, like, after, and by the way, Jocelyn, he also gets captured too.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he gets brought along. And it's not good
Not much
for this
of a
guy.
bodyguard.
Well, I mean, he got overpowered by like 7 guys and 3 of them lie dead, so he didn't have time to whip out his sword. He couldn't get... I can't speak too much about his, because he's actually vital to the plot of what happens. But, like, during this, like, they're both slaves, 100% slaves. They kind of learned, oh, now we have to work together because our home is in danger. We gotta get back there. And Jocelyn's just like, fuck yeah, we gotta get back there.
Time to hatch a daring escape plan.
I
love that.
It's very much like, it reminds me of Hogan's Heroes or Chicken Run, or just like, oh, we've got to escape the prison camp.
Chicken Run.
Chicken Run was based off of Hogan's Heroes. You cannot tell me otherwise. It's like watching MASH. You're just like, all right, we're trapped in this camp. We gotta get the fuck out. But, like, it's fascinating because Selig he's not quick to just, like, he's not a Dothraki. He's not going to fuck you in front of all of his men. He will if he gets like that, but no, he knows how to control everything about himself. And, I mean, he can use his fucking anger, and he will get angry. Like, these are Vikings that will do a Viking blood eagle, and Phaedra sees that shit. Thankfully, Jacqueline Carey didn't do the historically accurate blood eagle, because that involves taking a hatchet to the ribs in your back by your spine and up down like a zipper and then spreading that.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, she did kind of like, I think, the show Hannibal. There's a episode of Hannibal involving the blood eagle, and it's just like, no, you just laid the skin off the back. And Phaedra
Blood
sees
Eagle
that.
Light.
Yeah, Blood Eagle Light. And Phaedra sees that, she's like, nope, not me! I can't do that! So, but okay, I'm getting to the thing with Selig. Let me find.
purpose for that.
We're going. Okay.
Okay, side note, I couldn't stand it. I looked up what Phaedra means, and in Greek the word means bright, but mythologically, Phaedra was the daughter of King Minos, known for her turbulent love life. So, she definitely knew what she was doing here.
I wonder why this name keeps coming back up in shit literature.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now we get to like probably my favorite part of this entire book. It's just one scene. 452. Taking his leave, he paused to speak to two of the white brethren. "Bring her to my room," he murmured, nodding in my direction. Fear filled me like water in a drowning man's lungs. I remained in the great hall, serving mead as I had been bidden. They came for me soon, two of them taking my arms to lead me from the hall. The Scaldi bawled out cheerful obscenities and banged their mugs. I am Phaedra Meldelani, I thought, born of the Night Court proper, trained by the greatest living courtesan of Terdange, dedicated to the servants of Nama. I would not go crawling to this barbarian king like a slave. So it was that I walked from the hall with my head high between my guards. What the Scaldi saw in my face I do not know, but the jests fell silent as I passed. And then they brought me to Waldemar Selig. One of the white brethren scratched at the door in a particular sequence. They have a code among them, I learned later. I committed this one to memory. So, she's still playing the spy, like she can't turn it off. So, she walks in, she goes into this guy's room, and she is left alone with him. Can you guess what happens next? Take one guess.
She seduces him.
They start talking about books.
Oh my god, I love that so much more. Like we're doing right now.
Like we're doing right now. Literally. Like, she go... Okay.
I mean, that's what I always do on a first date.
Yeah, but, like, I doubt, like, you've had most of the people that you know and love taken away from you.
No, and then been captured. I have not quite been in that situation, but if I were, I'd probably talk about books. I don't know. It's never really a bad choice.
Yeah, okay, listen to this. I don't know what I had expected. Waldemar Selig's room held a hearth and a great bed, the headboard elaborately carved with a scene I recognized from one of the sagas. It held a great deal else besides. Books, whole shelves full of them, and cubbies for scrolls. A steel breastplate and helmet on a stand, which I later discovered was in part the source of the legend that he was proof against arms. Most Scaldi warriors fight unarmored. Selig had won his in a bout against some tribal champion. A desk, oft used by the look of it, with other maps and correspondence, was strewn about. Selig stood in the center of the room, tall and imposing, watching me look around. There was a book on the corner of his vast desk, worn and much mended. I picked it up. Life of Sinhil Rule. He is a great hero to me, Selig said quietly. A model of how one should lead a people, do you not think? I set the book down. My hand was trembling. He united his people to save his land from conquest, my lord. I see no invaders here. It took him aback a little bit. His color rose slightly. No one, I thought, answered back to Waldemar Selig, and I was in the least position of all to do it. But if ever I have a gift, it was for knowing how to engage my patrons, and I knew, in my bones, that Selig would not be long engaged by mere subservience. You read Kerdirchi, then? He said, turning the subject. He came over to stand beside me, pointing out other books on the shelves. Have you read this? It's one of my favorites. It was Lavinia Selig's... Shit, these names. Tales of Wandering Hero Astyanax. I told him I had. You know, there are no books in Skaldic, he mused. We've not even a written tongue to our name. There are some, my lord. I felt like a child next to him. My head came no higher than the pit of his arm. Didymus Pontus at the University of Tiberium translated Skaldic phonetically into the Kadirchi alphabet some 40 years ago. I felt his gaze from above. Truly? He asked, startled. I'll have to find those. Gunther did not say you were a scholar, Phaedra. A witch, perhaps. It is beyond them to understand more. I am a slave, my lord. Nothing more. You are a very well-trained slave. I thought he might say something more, but his pointing finger, moved over the books. Have you read this? It's a Evangeline book. It was a translation of the 3,000,000 Joys. I might have wept.
Kama Sutra.
Yeah. One of the great erotic texts that required reading. Yes, my lord, I have studied this book. Not gonna go into the rest of it.
Oh, that is delightful.
Oh, she fucking read that book, bro. Yeah, man. So, she's, like, you see how that, like, just, it's not a date.
She could tell him about books that he didn't even know about. Yeah.
She discovers, oh my god, this guy's a fascination. And it's a shared fascination. These two polar opposites, in just about every way imaginable, have a shared passion, and it's books.
I love that. I love that so
God,
much.
dude. That's basically as far as I can get into, like, spoiler stuff. Because, like, that right there, to me, is the height of the mountain. The stakes do amp up, and the sex does continue, and, like, at one point, I'll say this with Jocelyn. Jocelyn is a warrior monk, taken vows to never have children, which, that's basically saying, no, you never stick the pointy thing in the hoo-hoo. Like, yeah, he's not allowed to do that, and he is hardcore brainwashed into never doing that.
Wow.
But when you're trapped in a blizzard, and there's a cave...
It starts to look pretty warm in there.
Your only solution, your only hope for survival is to huddle together for warmth. So, Jocelyn has a whole... Jocelyn has this thing, because if Phaedra is kind of like this avatar of a particular thing, so is Jocelyn. And he's kind of like, oh god, he's not the friend zone best friend. But he also knows that Phaedra's not a...
She's off limits.
She's not off limits, but he can never have all of her. And he doesn't even know if he wants to have all of her. Because he knows that, well, I've never been raised to want a woman, and she is not one to be kept. Like, okay, the best line that I've ever heard to describe Phaedra in metaphor actually came from A Knight's Tale, starring Heath Ledger. And,
I love that movie.
Oh god, dude, that movie's fun. That movie's so fucking weird to me, but I fucking love it. And it's when she's not a trophy, she's not a target, she's the arrow.
Yes!
Yeah, and that's basically Phaedra. It's more like, yeah, Jocelyn, you're along for the ride. You can either go along and protect her, but you better step the fuck aside when she decides to move. And sometimes he learns the hard way to do that.
That's refreshing.
Oh god, yeah, it is. And here's the really cool thing. Phaedra never once comes across as a stereotype. Even though she has a whole bunch of tropes that actually go with, like, hooker with a heart of gold. She never comes across as that. Strong, independent woman. I mean, you see that she is a strong, independent woman.
But she's also a slave, and, like, a proud slave.
She's a proud slave. She's a proud servant. She is not, like, she's an independent thinker, but she knows that she needs to belong someplace, and that's what a lot of people, when they're writing these characters, like, oh, she's independent. Like, if anybody ever tries to write Laura Croft, she comes across
she's a loner. She's a rebel. She's like, nobody can. But it's like, that's a lonely life.
Yeah, it's a very lonely life. And Phaedra's just like, no, I am a member of this community. I'm a member of this service. I'm a member of this household.
Here's a question: does she ever fall in love? Does she experience love, or is?
Oh, yes, she does.
Okay.
But it's kind of weird because it's a very. I mean, she's 100% polyamorous. Don't get me wrong. But she does feel certain kinds of love, and that sometimes those flavors of love blend in between two characters. Like, she loves Hyacinth. She wants to fuck Hyacinth. But being in her kind of service of Nama, you don't just fuck for the fun of it.
Right, that's your job.
Well, it is her job, yeah, but it's also a form of worship. Like, she does not have a fuck buddy. she will never have a fuck buddy because that's not taking it right. She will totally fuck you as a trade. 100%. At one point, she does that with a brother and sister.
Wait, as a trade, like for information, as a trade for services?
A trade for services, a trade for passage through your lands.
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
okay.
army at my fucking back. And they'll just be like, I mean, we've heard about you, Fidge, because eventually she does get a reputation.
That was going to be my next question. Is she famous?
She becomes a member of the court, and she's a member of the court early on. Like she is. Oh, this is the scion of the Nafion Delone. She's in the service of Nama, and she is very easily noticed because one thing that servants of Nama have are back tattoos. And it's called her mark. You can't really see it too very well on the book cover. But she and Alcuin, once they enter into service, like once they lose their virginity and once they start, becoming essentially prostitutes, they start saving up money, and every so often they'll go to a tattoo shop and add to their mark.
Oh, that's cool.
And the mark starts at the base of the spine, and it goes all the way up to the back of the neck. And you know that your service has been paid and rendered for. Your service is complete when the mark is finished.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So every time that she walks around in an evening gown with that mark, everyone's just like, oh shit, this is a player. Like this is someone who could probably kill an army with a whisper and a joke. Like, that's the level of awesomeness that this girl has. And it's only because she's, like, a very good-natured person. Like, not internally, she has a little bit of, like, she has no sadism in her heart. But she also knows, hey, sometimes the enemies need to die in order for them to stop being enemies. I don't want that to happen. I have no say in the matter.
Yeah, I'll kill if I have to.
Yeah, and I honestly don't remember if she ever kills in this book. I'm pretty sure she probably does at one point, but there's a good reason why Jocelyn is there.
Right on.
And this guy has no problem with killing. Oh, man. So, that's basically it. I can't go into the ending. I will just say, it ends. You can totally read this book as a standalone, and it works. There is literally only one thread left dangling that you could pull on, and that therein leads into the second book which I'm not sure if I'll go into or not, because sad to say, even Phaedra is not immune to the perils of the sequel items. But yeah, definitely here. What impresses me about this book is, number one, it treats kink with respect. Even though there's some outlandish shit that goes on in here, at one point Phaedra gets strapped to the Wheel of Fortune and inverted vertically, so that when she gets spun around and someone tries whipping her, it's a moving target as a party game.
Okay, I love that though. As someone who loves both carnivals and that particular tarot card, I'm into it.
Oh,
Very
God,
into it.
Yeah, that happens, and even I'm just like,
that's creative.
Come on, guys. Don't get me wrong.
That's somebody's fantasy somewhere.
That is totally somebody's fantasy.
There's somebody listening to this out there right now that's
my God.
just like, I've always wanted this.
I'm like, hey, go for it, but make sure that whoever's got that whip isn't drinking. Wow.
Yeah.
So, any other further questions of this?
I think I'm sated for now. I think I'm gonna go read this. I'm stoked.
Awesome.
I'm sold. This is yeah.
Well, let me know. And I think that's it for episode 1. What are you thinking, Baroness?
Feeling very satisfied.
Yeah.
Good night, adoring fans.
Good night, my sweet darlings. And remember the famous words of the angels: boink and let boink.